Okay, let's talk about narcissistic men then.
Okay.
Okay, so I think narcissistic men objectify women like you wouldn't believe. And at first, they view their romantic interest as a trophy. They want to win you. They want to possess you. They want you to become attached to them. But as soon as you do, it switches. And then they start to view you as a toy. And the game they play with their little toy is, can I get you to value me more than you value your self-respect? And once that happens, they get bored of you, they degrade you, they toss you aside, they go find a new toy to play with.
Do you think they do this consciously? You think it's like planned out, or is something they do subconsciously because it's part of their traumas and that personality
I think
trait?
it varies from narcissist to narcissist. So I've worked with a few narcissists. They don't usually go to therapy. But I've worked with some guys who, and women are narcissists too, but of course, but let's stick to men. It's more fun to bash men. I've worked with some guys who are 100% conscious of what they're doing and have shown up to therapy and bragged to me.
Yeah.
Right? It's all about, like, they feel worthless. They hate themselves. And so to cope with that feeling of self-hatred, they develop a persona that's the exact opposite of self-hatred. It's grandiose. It's whatever. And then they get really good at that persona, and so they're charming and they're seductive, right?
So why do you think, I feel like a strong trait of a narcissist is to gaslight?
Yeah.
Or gaslit, however you say it. And I feel like I had some situations where I'm expressing myself and I'm saying, hey, you did this, this, and this, and it makes me feel uncomfortable. And I've had this with like 1-2 different people where I'm literally stating something that did happen.
Yeah.
And they say, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like the first feeling we get is to prove that it happened and to get upset, and then they find a way to make it look like you're emotional.
They love that.
Exactly.
That's the game. Can I get you to value me more than you value value your self-respect? I.e., can I get you to act crazy?
Yeah.
Can I get you to lose control? Because if you hate yourself, not you, the narcissist, and you feel like you're worthless, you're down here. And so the person you're with, if they're up there, all that does is reinforce your self-hatred and inferiority. And so they have to bring you down. And if they can bring you down, they feel as though that brings themselves up.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're dating a narcissist, they find all these little or big ways to start to
pick on you and make you
feel small. That's the game they play. And gaslighting's a part of that.
It is. I feel that's why it's very important for women and men, to learn how to love themselves before they get into a relationship, because it's important for you to be able to validate yourself. After my divorce and like when I started dating again, I'm so careful about how it's not about how I feel about somebody. Yeah. It's not about how I feel about you. It's about how you make me feel.
Yeah.
So if somebody makes me feel like I'm not worth it, even though I value and I love myself, I will fight to run away. Like really? I'll run away from that.
And that's exactly what you should do. But it takes a lot of women and a lot of men a certain amount of time to get to that point, right? A certain amount of pain and toxic relationships before they actually learn those lessons. Like, I think women have a superpower. It's their intuition. Okay, so I work with men and women, and this is a huge generalization. There are exceptions, of course, but it's glaringly obvious that women are way more intuitive and emotionally intelligent than men are. But where women fuck up is they meet a guy who makes them anxious, and they mistake anxiety and excitement are a very similar experience. And they mistake their anxiety for attraction or chemistry, and they go chasing after that guy when really their intuition, their anxiety, their body is telling them he's trouble, stay away from him. But they go chasing after them thinking it's excitement, thinking it's attraction or chemistry, and it tends not to go very well.
I think as well a lot of women get addicted to, to that type of behavior of like somebody's fully there and then they're not, and it causes this addiction of like, I want to have you, I want you to validate me, like you're so into me, what happened now, like how can I get you back? And they get so focused on that cycle.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's not healthy at all.
It's a drug. It's an addiction.
It's an addiction,
It's extreme. The word addiction is extreme. But what I mean by that is when the cocaine addict does cocaine, their brain lights up with dopamine. They feel amazing. And then it wears off. But they don't go, oh, shoot, it wore off. Okay, on with my day. They go finding more cocaine because they want that feeling again, right?
Yeah, and that's why some men play games with like, oh, they will like love bomb you and then they will retreat themselves to cause that.
Yes.
But for me, that's boys' game. If you do that to me,
women do that too, but
but that's very childish.
Exactly,
you know?
But that's what I'm saying. It takes people a while to learn what you just said, to learn that that's childish, right? Because initially, a lot of people, when the love bombing's over and the withdrawal starts to happen, like the cocaine that wears off, they go chasing after it. They want that high again. They want that love bomb again. And so they get swept up in that game. They might not even know they're playing a game. All they know is they want to feel good. Like, I had this thought the other day. The more I do therapy, the more I'm simplifying things. The more human beings are incredibly complicated and nuanced, but I'm starting to see them in through a very simple lens. And like, I think all human behavior is an attempt to feel good and or escape pain. And so when that man withdraws, you feel pain. So what do? If you're not wise enough and mature enough to chase. Why are you chasing?
Because you feel that validation.
Exactly. You want to feel good and you want to escape the pain. And so people come to me and they tell me their lives. And, a lot of their behavior and their decisions, if you look at it through the lens of logic and rational thinking, make no sense at all. And they're baffled by themselves. But if you realize we're emotional creatures and everything we're doing is to try and feel good and to escape pain, then all of a sudden their behavior makes perfect sense through that lens. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. It just takes us a while we have to learn our lessons. We have to, like I've said this before, but a kid learns not to touch a hot stove by touching a hot stove. Parent tells the kid, don't touch the hot stove. They might understand it intellectually, but they don't really get it yet. Then they touch that stove and they get burnt. And some kids have to touch the stove 5 or 10 times before they learn not to touch the stove. But it's the pain that actually embodies the learning, right? So that sounds like what happened to you, and that's happened to me, and happens to everyone. You can listen to a podcast when you're 22 about narcissistic men and about, love bombing. And you can understand it intellectually, but until you've been burnt by it and suffered the consequences of it, it's very unlikely you're going to actually embody that learning and apply it to your life.
Yeah. How can women and like younger women can tell the difference between desire from men and actually men wanting them being serious, because I feel like it's very easy to confuse both.
Yeah. I would say one, they probably can't initially. That's might sound a little nihilistic and whatnot, but it usually takes you a few times of going through it to actually get it. But I would say this, watch what people do. Pay attention to their behavior. People can say anything. The things we say are just noise we're making with our mouth. Right?
Yeah.
People reveal themselves through their behaviors.
Through their actions.
Right? So their actions tell you what they're actually about. So they can say one thing and they can be really good at talking and whatnot, but it's just noise with their mouth. But you can't hide your reality, and your behavior will reveal your reality. Your behavior will reveal how interested you are with someone or what your true intentions